Hello, good day, students. I am Dr. Obasi Sunday Nathaniel. I want to welcome you to our very first class on Introduction to Soil Pedology and Classification. And we'll be starting with the topic of the origin of soil. And I want to assure you that you will really enjoy this course. So ensure you participate effectively and make sure you come to class always in the process. I welcome you once again. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I am Dr. Obasi Sunday Nathaniel. I want to welcome you to our class on the origin of soil. And I do know you will avail yourself the opportunity to participate effectively in this class, and I assure you, you will really be glad you did. We are starting by way of introduction that soil is the interface between the atmosphere and the lithosphere, the mantle of rocks making up the earth crust. So it has an interface with the hydrosphere, which has to do the water bodies, the spheres describing surface water, groundwater, as well as the oceans. So also the soil sustains the growth of many plants and animals, and so form part of the biosphere. So a combination of physical, chemical, and biotic factors acts on organic and weathered rock fragments to produce soil with a porous fabric that contains water and air, which is also known as a sphere. Now, we consider soil as a natural body of minerals and organic materials that is formed in response to many environmental factors and processes acting on and changing soils permanently. Soil have been cultivated intensively for at least 5,500 years. Only about 2,000 years ago, some crude soil fertility relationships were proposed for crops. That is, the need for water was clear. So most of our scientific knowledge has been accumulated just in the last 70 to 90 years. Now, the objective of this lesson is that at the end of this class, you should be able to have a knowledge of what soil quality is all about, as well as be able to list the combination of soil or soil forming factors. Now, soil, its origin and formation. Soils are a mixture of different things, which include rocks, minerals, and death decaying plant and animals. Soil can be very different from one location to another, but generally it consists of organic and inorganic materials, including water and air. So in a typical soils, we have both organic and inorganic. Organic has to do with the part that constitutes soil itself, the parent material generated bodies. Those are the organic materials, whereas the inorganic materials, whereas the organic are the substances that constituted decaying of plants and animal materials and all of that. Also, we have the water bodies that occupy some of the pore spaces in the soil. The inorganic materials include the rocks that have been broken down into smaller pieces. The sizes of the pieces vary. It may appear as pebbles, gravels, or as small as particles of sand or clay. Now, so it may appear as the organic material is decaying living matters. The organic materials are decaying living matters, which has to do with dead plants, dead animals, dead humans, and all the dead things. They constitute the organic part of the soil. Over time, as they decay, they are incorporated into the soil, and you cannot separate them from the soil. So they have also formed part of soil, and they are the organic material. Now, this could be plants or animals that have died and decayed until they become part of soil, says earlier. Now, origin of soil has to do with the physical and biological agents such as wind, running waters, temperature changes, living organisms perpetually modify the earth crust. All these interactions between some factors such as wind, running water, temperature changes, and living organisms, all of them interact, in the process modifying the earth crust, thereby leading to soil formation. And this changes the upper surface of the products that are more closely in equilibrium with the atmosphere and the hydrosphere as well as the biosphere. Earth scientists sum up all processes through which these alterations take place under the collective term withering. One speaks of mechanical withering in the case that the dominant factor or forces are mainly mechanical, and they include forces of erosion coming from running waters and all of that, whereby when running waters are moving, they are detaching some of the particles, and they are also bringing some particles colliding with one another, leading to disintegration of soil, thereby of rocks or other soil forming materials, leading to formation of soil. The abrasion action of streams, load, or the physical action of wind and severe temperature fluctuations also from this. Also, similarly, one speaks of biological withering. And that has to do with forces producing changes that are directly or indirectly related to living organisms. Example include the action of burrowing animals, the penetrating forces of plant roots, the destructive action of algae, bacteria, and the acid-producing symbiotic community of the lichens, or simply the destructive action of man, which continuously disturb the earth crust through various activities. Now, processes of disintegration during which mantle rocks are broken down to form particles of smaller size without considerable change in the chemical or mineralogical composition are known as physical weathering processes. Now, changes of this type prevail under extreme climatic condition, as might be obtained in the desert regions. Of course, we know that in the desert regions the temperature may be very high, extremely high, to the point that it can actually cause expansion in rocks, and when this expansion takes place, it can lead to breaking down of some of these rocks, thereby leading to formation of soil. They are also prevailing in areas of mountainous relief. The most prominent agent of physical weathering include differential stress caused by unloading of deep-seated rocks on emerging to the surface. Also, differential thermal expansion under extreme climatic condition. When there is extreme weather conditions such as temperature, when the temperature is very high, of course there is bound to be expansion and contraction of some surfaces, which might be rocks and other soil forming surfaces. And these processes of expansion and contraction will ultimately lead to breaking down of some of these materials, leading to soil formation. Also, expansion of interstitial boundaries. Other mechanical agents enhance the effect of mechanical weathering, which may include processes such as gravity, abrasion by glacier ice, or wind-blown particles. By conclusion, we have learned that soil originated from disintegration of rocks and minerals, basically through the process of weathering. Also, soil can also be formed through the decaying of organic matter by the activity of microorganisms, which over time they decay to form soil. It takes some 100 million years for soil to form. Also, summary, soil formation hypothesis states that soil is formed as a result of interaction of many variables. The most important of them include parent materials, climate, organisms, relief, and time, because all of these processes take place over time. Now, class activity include the following: briefly describe the origin of soil, what are the factors of soil formation, explain how soil formation factors influence the kind of soil that is finally formed. Thank you for listening and remain ever blessed.